Jumping into the number 5 spot of the top 5 gaming mice you can actually afford is the SteelSeries Rival 3, coming in at a price tag of only $17.99. If at any point during the video you want to check out any of the 5 gaming mice in this video, there's Amazon links below for the US, UK, Canada, and international links, but $17.99 for the Rival 3. Now, even at this insanely low price point, you still get a TrueMove core sensor, which is their variant of the 3331 sensor, which is very good, it's reliable, and it has a reputation for a higher LOD here, so do keep that in mind. Now, this hits a 1000 Hz pulling rate up to 8500 DPI, 300 IPS, and 35 Gs of acceleration. But the build quality is actually pretty decent. I had a slight rattle from my left click when shaking it, but the body itself feels solid, it's completely matte and has a subtle grippy texture. And as for shape, it's ambidextrous, it's a medium-sized mouse, so it's best suited for a claw or fingertip grip. If you don't know what that means, on screen are the 3 different grip styles: fingertip, claw, and palm gripping. Just use a mouse, see which one you gravitate towards naturally, and that's how you can use that to help you find the right mouse in this top 5 video. For skates, or how the mouse glides, this has 2 on the top, 1 around the sensor, and 1 large skate along the bottom. The sound is a bit louder on a mouse pad, but it glides well with some drag up and down. Now, for the cable, this is the only cable on the list that is rubber coated, and it does cause a little bit of resistance on the mouse, but it's fairly lightweight and definitely still usable for sure, especially if you can get a mouse bungee. That totally changes this. You can also definitely DIY a mouse bungee. All you're really trying to do is keep some slack on the cable that is hanging in the air. You can even just tape it to your wall. That would also work. Now for switches, these are using SteelSeries Blue switches, which are made by Zippy. They are the heaviest on the list, but they aren't fatiguing, so this could be a good option if you want really good precision. The scroll wheel here is actually decent, albeit very recessed in the mouse. Its resistance is on the lighter side, which is actually what I prefer, and the tactile bumps are easily distinguishable. For weight, this is a little bit heavier, coming in at 79 grams, but that's what you expect for this price point. Now for RGB, there is a band around almost the entire bottom, as well as the SteelSeries logo. It's super bright and very nicely diffused. But with that, let's move on to the number 4 spot. This is again a SteelSeries mouse. This is the Prime Plus, coming in at a price tag of $18.95. But now we move to the TrueMove Pro Plus sensor, which is the variant of the 3390 sensor, which is a better sensor. This hits a 1000 Hz pulling rate up to 18,000 DPI, 450 IPS, and 50 Gs of acceleration. Now, build quality is impressively solid here for their price. I did find a creak during testing when squeezing really hard, but in real-world usage, this doesn't happen. The matte finish is slightly textured, which provides a good grip, and it's a more unique right-handed ergonomic shape here that I really enjoyed for a claw and palm gripping. And this has a little OLED screen to adjust lift-off distance, RGB, CPI, and polling rate on the fly, which is a really nice touch and something we definitely don't expect at this price point. Now for skates, this has 2 on the top, 1 around the sensor, and 1 large skate on the bottom. This glides very comparably to the Rival 3, but is a tad smoother. The cable here is a definite upgrade from the previous mouse. It's a stiffer braided cable here, but when it's plugged in and it's angled up off of the mouse, it feels wireless. That's the biggest change in terms of usability between the 2 mice. That's really what's going to affect it significantly. Now for switches, this uses SteelSeries Prestige OM switches, which are an optical magnetic switch. They are medium weight and the clicks are pretty immediate and super crispy and satisfying. That is pretty nice to get under 20 bucks. The scroll wheel here is nicely distinguished tactile bumps with a medium weight, and this comes in at 71 grams without the cable, so that is a good weight. RGB here is minimal, only being on the scroll wheel. It is bright and it's well diffused though, so yeah. But with that, let's move on to the number 3 spot, which is the Logitech G305. This is the budget wireless pick on the list. You can get this as low as $26.99. That's what it is currently at the time of filming, but the prices on this mouse do fluctuate, so check the links below for current pricing. Now, this is using the Hero sensor, which is obviously a very good sensor for FPS. It is a very high quality sensor made by Logitech. This hits a 1000 Hz pulling rate, 12,000 DPI, 400 IPS, and 40 Gs of acceleration. Now, build quality here is fantastic, having a ton of color options and overall being very well put together with no creaks or even wiggly parts. Logitech does a great job here. As far as size, this is for average size to small hands. Now, depending on grip styles, you could get away if you had larger hands, but yeah. Also, this is ambidextrous with side buttons only on one side. Now skates. These have smaller skates around all 4 corners, 1 around the sensor, and this does cause not the smoothest gliding in the world with some noticeable drag, but definitely usable. The scroll wheel here is also very nicely tactile with zero mushiness. Switches here are actually really good. They are slightly on the lighter side and are very clicky. I really liked these when gaming. Now, weight is much heavier than others on the list due to using a AA battery. This comes in at 99 grams, which is a lot for its size. But if you do want to switch out that stock battery for a lithium, you can get the weight down to 86 or 87 grams, which is a really nice balance, especially for the current price tag. If you want a wireless gaming mouse, this one is really hard to beat at this price. Now, there is no physical connection. This is exclusively wireless. You cannot plug this in. You have to use batteries. The big benefit of that is that you have an ultra long battery life, and you can immediately get a full battery again just by swapping in a battery. Now, this is some of the best wireless connectivity with range, consistency, and reliability. Because it's Logitech, they just have really amazing tech and very reliable tech. So this really excels over everyone else anywhere close to this price point. Now, there's no RGB, but it does have some pretty cool colorways, so definitely check those out. But with that, let's move on to the number 2 spot, which is the Cooler Master MM711. Coming in at a price tag of $24.99, this is one of the best budget gaming mice of all time. This uses the Pixar 3389 sensor, a very reliable, great high-end sensor, and honestly, for 99% of you, you're never going to need more than this sensor. This hits a 1000 Hz pulling rate up to 16,000 DPI, 400 IPS, and 50 Gs of acceleration. Now, build quality here is fantastic, being a great shape for all grip styles. It has a cutout design, but instead of honeycombs, it uses the Cooler Master logo, which is really cool. It feels very well put together and looks absolutely awesome. No one is ever going to look at this mouse and think that it is a budget mouse. This genuinely looks like it is a $80 to $100 mouse. Really impressive build. It's also really easy to recommend to pretty much anybody because the grip styles, well, you can use all of them and they're all very comfortable on this mouse. Now for skates, this uses virgin grade PTFE with one large skate at the front and two smaller skates at the bottom corners. This does cause some drag and isn't as nice as the number 1 spot, but it is very good and better than others on the list. Now the cable here is an ultra lightweight design and it is super light with basically zero resistance. It feels wireless. At this point, there's really not that big of a difference between a wired and wireless mouse in terms of feel. Now, for switches, these are using Omron switches and they feel great. They're not too light, not too heavy. Pretty much everyone will like this. Again, following the shape and size. The scroll wheel here is tactile and doesn't feel mushy. It's again pretty much just right for in-game. And for the weight, this is where this absolutely brings it. Coming in at 60 grams, this is a fantastic lightweight gaming mouse. And obviously, like you've already seen with the B-roll, the RGB is just crazy. It has a ton of RGB with this giant diffused piece at the back of the mouse. Just looks insane. Crazy that they have it at this price, weight, and then with the RGB. But with that, let's move on to the number 1 best gaming mouse that you can actually afford. This is the glorious Model D/Model O-. Coming in at a price tag of $24.99 for the D- and $29.99 for the O- at the time of filming. For that price, this is currently a freaking steal. The sensor here is the 3360 sensor, hits a 1000 Hz pulling rate, 12,000 DPI, 250 IPS, and 50 Gs of acceleration. Now, build quality here is very good, feeling very nice in the hand. They look great, having tons of RGB throughout, honeycomb cutouts, as well as having the glorious logo on the side. Now, these are the minus variants, so they're primarily for small to medium size hands, depending on your grip style. The Model O is ambidextrous and better suited for fingertip and claw grips, and the D is a right-handed mouse, so it's much better suited for palm grippers. And again, this all depends on your hand size. Now, at one point in time, this mouse was actually my daily, and I loved it. For skates, these are 100% PTFE. They have 4 smaller skates in each corner, which honestly surprised me, as most of the time this design causes some drag, but these were actually very smooth with only a very small amount of drag going to the left and right. Also, because of the smaller total skate area, this is a bit faster, which a lot of you may really enjoy. The cable here is again an ultralight design, and it is fantastic, has no problems with it, and is just as good as the Cooler Master, feeling essentially wireless. Switches also follow suit, being Omron, which feel great. They're a bit more solid feeling than the Cooler Master, and they have a really good middle ground weight for FPS. The scroll wheel here is alright. It has tactile bumps, but it's a bit too heavy and vague in my opinion. That's really the only complaint with this. However, The weight here is fantastic, coming in at 58 to 59 grams for the Model O and 62 grams for the Model D. But you have to remember that the Model D is a bigger mouse, so that weight is actually very impressive. Now, RGB looks awesome here, having the left and right rails in RGB, as well as the scroll wheel and inside the honeycomb cutouts. Very nice, very vibrant, and the best gaming mouse that you can actually afford. And again, if you want to check out any of the 5, there are Amazon links below for the US, UK, Canada, and international links. I get so many comments, people telling me that I'm not doing budget enough, or I'm not showing you guys actually cheap mice to buy, or actually cheap components or peripherals, and this video is supposed to solve that. If you can't afford any of the mice in this video, you're gonna have to move to used mice on eBay, and I can't really make a good video about that. But yeah, this is a Consumer Tech Review, and I'll see you guys in the next video.